यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायामुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो पंकजनाभाय नमो पंकजमालिने नमो पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रे। Hare Krishna. We welcome all devotees to this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. We also welcome devotees who have come online. Thank you everyone for coming for the Sunday festival. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3, Chapter 9, entitled Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy, text number 1. Please respond. Brahmovacha Gyato simedya suchiran nanudeha bhajam na gyayate bhagavato gatirit avadhyam nanyat tadasti bhagavan apitanna shuddham Maya guna vyatikarat yadurur vibhasi. Brahmovacha Gyato simedya suchiran nanudeha bhajam Na gyayate bhagavato gatiritavadyam नान्यत्वदस्ति भगवन्नपि तन्न शुद्धम् माया गुणा व्यतिकरात् यदुरुर्विभासि ब्रह्मोवाच ज्ञातो सिमेद्य सुचिरान्ननुदेह बाजाम् न ज्ञायते भगवतो गतिरितवद्यम् नान्यत्तदस्ति भगवन्नपि तन्न शुद्धम् माया गुणा व्यतिकरात् यदुरुर्विभासि Mataji's. It's okay. Chant, chant, chant. Mataji's. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Lord Brahma said, "O my Lord, today, after many, many years of penance, I have come to know about you. Oh, how unfortunate the embodied living entities are that they are unable to know your personality. My Lord, you are the only knowable object because there is nothing supreme beyond you. If there is anything supposedly superior to you, it is not the absolute. You exist as the supreme by exhibiting the creative energy of matter." The highest purport, the highest peak of the ignorance of the living entities who are conditioned by material bodies is that they are unaware of the supreme cause of the cosmic manifestation. Different people have different theories regarding the supreme cause, but none of them are genuine. The only supreme cause is Vishnu, and the intervening impediment is the illusory energy of the Lord. The Lord has employed His wonderful material energy in manifesting many, many wonderful distractions in the material world, and the conditioned souls, illusioned by the same energy, are thus unable to know the supreme cause. The most stalwart scientists and philosophers, therefore, cannot be accepted as wonderful. They only appear wonderful because they are instruments in the hands of the illusory energy of the Lord. Under illusion, the general mass of people deny the existence of the Supreme Lord and accept the foolish products of illusory energy as supreme. One can know the supreme cause, the personality of Godhead, by the causeless mercy of the Lord, which is bestowed upon the Lord's pure devotees like Brahma and those in his disciplic succession. By acts of penance only was Lord Brahma able to see the Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and by realization only could he understand the Lord as he is. Brahma was extremely satisfied upon observing the magnificent beauty and opulence of the Lord, and he admitted that nothing can be comparable to him. Only by penance can one appreciate the beauty and opulence of the Lord, and one is acquainted with that beauty and opulence, he is no longer attracted by any other. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 2.59. Param drishtva nivartate. Foolish human beings who do not endeavor to investigate the supreme beauty and opulence of the Lord are here condemned by Brahma. It is imperative that every human being try for such knowledge, and if anyone does not do so, his life is spoiled. Anything that is beautiful and opulent in the material sense is enjoyed by those living entities who are like crows. Crows always engage in picking at rejected garbage, whereas the white ducks do not mix with the crows. Rather, they take pleasure in transparent lakes with lotus flowers surrounded by beautiful orchards. Both crows and ducks are undoubtedly birds by birth, but are not of the same feather. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyam Ishwaram. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yonta pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptan sanjivayata kila shakti dhara swadhamna anyam shahasta charana shravanat vagadin pranam namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam katanchana smrite yasmin duskaram sukaram bhavet vismrite vipritam syat Sri Chaitanya namamitam. Hare Krishna. So we are reading a very important prayer and a very nice purport by Srila Prabhupada. There are three very important points in this verse, and we will discuss all of them if we can. But first, very important, today is a very auspicious day. Today is Vishwarupa Mahotsava. Today is the day when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's older brother, Vishwarup, he took sannyas. And also, there is another explanation that today is also the day when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discovered where his brother was, because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had gone searching for him, and he found out in Pandharpur about his, how he had been here and he had taken samadhi there. So, both versions are there regarding this day. And today is also a very special day for ISKCON devotees, because today is the day when Srila Prabhupada took sannyas. On September 17, 1959. That is 66 years ago, Srila Prabhupada took sannyas on this very day. So this is a very, very special day. This is the day when Srila Prabhupada formally accepted the vows of sannyas, and he made his compassion, he already was overflowing with compassion, but that compassion got a formal outlet through sannyas. Etam sa asthaya paratmanishtham adhyasitam purvatamer maharshibi. So now he is only depending on Krishna after sannyas and just going, no institutional support, nothing Srila Prabhupada had. He just depended on Krishna, went everywhere and preached. And the background of Srila Prabhupada's sannyas is also very interesting. He had started League of Devotees in Jhansi, that failed. And then before that, he was also trying to expand his business. If you read Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit, the first volume, you will see how at least 7 times, there is explanation very clearly, 7 different times Srila Prabhupada started different business ventures. And each time with massive investment. And it all collapsed. Inexplicably. Doesn't make any logical sense. And his godbrother, second time he had problems. First was business was in Kolkata. Then he had to leave that because Dr. Bose would not give him credit. Then he came to Bombay and he was at Gwalior Tank, he was working for Smithson Laboratories. And there again he had problems. So this is the second time. And then he started his own business. There's a third venture when he was in Bombay. That time, and again that was also failing. That time Prabhupada read for the first time this verse from the 10th canto. Etam sa asthaya what is that verse? Yasyam anugrahanami harishye tad dhanam shanai. When Krishna says that when I am especially merciful, I take away everything. Inauspicious. So Srila Prabhupada read that and he was like, what is this? I am also going through all these challenges. Is Krishna doing this with me? So he went to his very dear friend and godbrother Bhaktisaranga Goswami Maharaj and he asked him that, does this verse apply to me? And his dear friend and godbrother said, 100%. You are destined to preach. You have to give everything to Krishna. Of course, Srila Prabhupada still wanted to show his sincerity to Krishna because he was in the Grihastha ashram. He wanted to take care of his family and he tried his best to expand the business and he did everything possible, humanly possible. And each time Krishna was smiling and, Krishna has his own plan, right? Especially for a pure devotee, it's something which we cannot go through, we can't imagine. And then, many years after Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada left this world, and Srila Prabhupada was struggling to preach also, and he was struggling in his business also. He had started Back to Godhead magazine. And that time, his spiritual master came in his dream and told him, Abhay, take sannyas. And Srila Prabhupada, out of his humility, there are few lectures, you can hear them, where Prabhupada, out of his humility, he says that, in one lecture he says, I was in Maya, I could not obey my spiritual master's order. Another time he says that I woke up scared, horrified. Sannyas? How can I take sannyas? And then Prabhupada says, but my Guru Maharaj was very compassionate. He came in my dream again. And then as Prabhupada was narrating this incident, he gets emotional and he starts crying. So then Srila Prabhupada, I think a few times this happened. Meanwhile, his business was collapsing, plus his preaching efforts were being curtailed. And then he got no support in his own house. One day when he asked his wife, would you prefer tea or me? She said, I prefer tea. So I think in one class, Gauranga Prabhu was saying that thanks to Prabhupada's Purva Ashram's, previous ashram's wife being attached to tea, our tea drinking has gone. Because we came to Srila Prabhupada's mission. And then one day when Srila Prabhupada, as a Grihastha, he was actually writing Bhagavad Gita commentary. For the first time, he wrote the whole commentary and he wanted to publish it. And he comes home, this is in 1930s, early 30s, and he's like excited to publish it, and finally gets a sponsor, Dr. Alagappa from South India. He's like considered as Birla of South, very wealthy man. He agrees to sponsor Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita manuscript. Thousands of pages Prabhupada had written, with his pen, single-handedly in pages. He didn't have soft copies, he couldn't have other copies, so he had kept it in his cupboard. And then he had a friend in South India, Muthu Swami Chetty, who actually got the contact of this wealthy man. So Prabhupada was very excited. He came home to remove that manuscript from the cupboard and it was missing. He asked everyone, nobody knew where it was. Imagine it took him 14 years to write that entire Bhagavad Gita commentary. 14 years of work, all gone. So then Srila Prabhupada, he asked everyone, nobody knew where it was. Then what does Prabhupada do? Next day, he started writing again. That's how, he accepted it as Krishna's will. And then he was doing, and then Bhagavad Gita, now during this incident in 1950s, mid-50s, so when he comes home, now already his Guru Maharaj has come in his dream, take sannyas, and he feels he's not ready for it. And now, he comes home and his first canto, he wants to read Srimad Bhagavatam, his Bhagavatam copy is missing. And he asks his wife about Srimad Bhagavatam and she tells him that she gave it away, during those days. Now also sometimes people barter few things. So she gave away that Bhagavatam in exchange for some tea biscuits. Srila Prabhupada was devastated. He realized that not only there is no support, there is complete callousness towards Srimad Bhagavatam and his efforts to preaching. And with a heavy heart, he went to his neighbor's house, borrowed 10 rupees. So the neighbor thought, okay, Abhay Babu always, he comes to my house and he's asking. Nobody realized what Abhay Babu was doing at that moment, that particular moment. He borrowed 10 rupees and he left home with nothing. And when he left home, few people saw him in the neighborhood. Oh, Abhay Babu is leaving. Now, Abhay Babu was always leaving home for going for business. So when he was in Kolkata, he started in one Prayag pharmacy. That time also, the third time when he started in Prayag, a business, he was going to Prayag, coming back to Kolkata. So many times, and he started also in Lucknow, one business, Vimla Tone Laboratories. So he started all these business times. He was traveling to Lucknow, coming back to Kolkata, going to Jhansi, coming back to Kolkata to his family. So they thought Abhay Babu is going, he will come back. He's going as usual. But this time with 10 rupees in his pocket, he went to the station, took a train, went to Jajigram, where his friend was there, Paramahams Maharaj. He went to his Gaudiya Mutt and he took shelter there. And he just stayed there. And from morning to night, Srila Prabhupada would only chant. Hare Krishna would only chant because he had nothing. No institutional support, no financial support, no family support. Nothing. And only holy name. Just kept chanting, morning to evening. Already League of Devotees, which he had started, had collapsed. And he had invested all the savings he had from his business. Everything he had invested in establishing that. And for the inauguration ceremony, lot of money had been spent. But there was dirty politics by, that Reva Shankar. There were a few people there who owned that Bharati Vidya Bhavan, that premises. And they had promised Prabhupada that they will give him. But then governor's wife, she wanted, Mrs. Munshi, she wanted that for some Mahila Samaj work. And she influenced that owner, because that owner also had some movie theaters. So now he wanted the license for those theaters to be renewed. Look at the politics. So she told him, you want the license to be renewed? Then you give up this. So he had to go back on his promise to Prabhupada. And there were two ladies who were supporting this governor's mission. They were called Chandramukhi and Suryamukhi. So they both of them were, this is there in the Lilamrita, the whole description. And Srila Prabhupada was writing letters after letters to Governor Munshi's wife. And that Bharati Vidya Bhavan was promised to me. I spent so much money on this, but they are just not agreeing, and everything collapses. And that's very interesting. His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj says, Krishna's sense of poetic justice. It's amazing, amazing. This is also K.M. Munshi Marg. That is Bharati Vidya Bhavan. And this entire property was earlier belonging to Bharati Vidya Bhavan. And the school was also there under the Bharati Vidya Bhavan name. And there was some gadbad that happened. And Srinathji Prabhu, being a true warrior that he is for Prabhupada's mission, he made a big issue out of it. And then he did a lot of, arguing, fighting, lawyers, and finally got the whole property, not just one room, that school. The whole thing is now, ISKCON. So Maharaj was saying that Krishna served poetic justice. He took away from, so that a governor's wife had taken away from Prabhupada, so then everything has come back to Prabhupada. So like that. So then anyway, Srila Prabhupada is now with his god brothers, and he has nothing, and he starts helping in the Mata. He starts writing articles for the Harmonist. He starts contributing for their magazine, and eventually there are some guests coming to the temple, and Srila Prabhupada wants to preach to them. And he doesn't have clothes, proper clothes. He writes a letter to his god brother who is traveling and preaching. Please give me some money so that I can have a pair of dhoti and kurta so that I can be presentable to the guests who are coming to the temple. So here is a person who at one time, when he was doing business in Prayag, he had a car. I forget the name of that car, that brand. He was very wealthy. His business was prospering. Jawaharlal Nehru's father, Motilal Nehru, would also come to his shop and take medicines. He was very well networked. Even when he was in Mumbai, Prabhupada was very well networked. He would take Bhakti Sarang Maharaj, even in Prayag, Atulanand Brahmachari, they were all the leaders there. What Srila Prabhupada would do? He would take them to all the rich donor friends he had, and he would get donations. In fact, the Prayag Gaudiya Math was started because of Srila Prabhupada's collection of donations. Bombay Gaudiya Math, which was very close by, now they've shifted to Bandra. If you go August Kranti Maidan, after that, when you go that side, that building there, that was the area where Gaudiya Math was there, where Srila Prabhupada. So both the mathas, like that, Prabhupada had contributed. It was his donations, getting from his contacts. He was very influential. So in Prayag, when Prabhupada was doing business, he was so wealthy and successful that he had one special kind of car, which only two people had in Bengal, at that in United Provinces. That was the state where Prayag was. Only two people had that car, the governor of United Provinces and Srila Prabhupada. He was so wealthy, so successful. And now he doesn't have money for a dhoti and kurta. But he's not thinking, I don't have this. He's only thinking of distributing Back to Godhead magazines. He goes in Delhi in the summer heat. He's distributing. Once he got a sunstroke and he fell. And when he fell down in the street, one of his acquaintances, earlier business contacts, was going in his car and he saw Abhay Babu is collapsed on the street. And then he picked up Prabhupada and took him in his car to his house. And then Prabhupada would go to get his Back to Godhead published, the printer, and the printer was little uncomfortable because the previous dues were still pending. And Prabhupada would say, no, I will pay it soon, but ye print hona chahiye. So that owner, that printer, would ask Abhay Babu, and he felt that Prabhupada had not taken any prasad, he's not eaten, because he was very weak also, physically he was looking weak. he could not eat properly. Didn't have. So he would ask, Abhay Babu, have you taken any breakfast? So then Prabhupada would say, no, it's okay, but this printing should happen. But still he knew that Abhay Babu has not taken anything. So he would ask for food, prasad, and then Prabhupada would honor. So he didn't have any institutional support, financial support, and he was just in this matha, chanting, preaching. Meanwhile, when he was also visiting Keshavji Gaudiya Mutt in Mathura, where his godbrother and very dear friend, Bhakti Pragna Keshav Maharaj was there. They were very close friends. So then his Keshav Maharaj's disciple was Bhaktivinoda Narayan Maharaj. So Narayan Maharaj would tell Prabhupada, Abhay Babu, you should take sannyas. Now you are only preaching, you are living like a sannyasi anyway. But out of his humility, Srila Prabhupada would say, you would not take sannyas. But then Keshav Maharaj, because he is very close friend of Srila Prabhupada, he literally ordered him, take sannyas. And Prabhupada says in one class that Keshav Maharaj literally ordered me and forced me to take sannyas. And he forced me means my Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada forced me. Because my Guru Maharaj was speaking through Keshav Maharaj. And then that sannyas ceremony happened today. On September 17, 1959 at the second floor of Keshavji Gaudiya Mutt in Mathura. So it's very beautiful, that ceremony. Prabhupada's very, very close friend, Akinchan Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, he was doing kirtan. You know, he's a very special Babaji, Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. When he was doing kirtan, like, you know, when Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj was very sick one day, a doctor came to see and he put the stethoscope on his chest. The doctor was shocked. The doctor was hearing Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He was such a Babaji, highly, highly qualified in devotional service, very pure, absorbed in Krishna. In fact, Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj writes in Journey Home that when he met Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, and Babaji Maharaj would always be Hare Krishna, very humble, down to earth, never speak much except Hare Krishna, Prasad. He would not talk much. And one day, Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj told Maharaj something, and very casually mentioned something, and then Maharaj was shocked, because that's the first time he realized that Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj can speak fluent English. And he had never spoken all these days. And Maharaj writes that in India, he was saying during those days, somebody knew even a little bit of English, they would try to show off in front of Maharaj. He was a traveling American, so they knew he was a sadhu. And he says he knew such fluent good English, but he would not show. You just be quiet, just say Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So then Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj so he was doing kirtan, and Narayan Maharaj was chanting mantras, and Keshav Maharaj gave sannyas, danda, and there was one very retired devotee, Sanatan Prabhu was 90. Narayan Maharaj said in one lecture that he was 95 years old. And he also got sannyas, and he became Muni Maharaj. And Abhay Babu became Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So that sannyas ceremony was very, very beautiful. And there were, after that sannyas, during that sannyas ceremony, Keshav Maharaj asked Prabhupada to speak something. Lecture do thoda bolo. Now look at this. This is an amazing scene. Just imagine now, we are going to 1959, Keshavji Gaudiya Mutt, very quaint Indian, of course it's Mathura, Brajadam, but I'm just saying, from externally, it's a simple setting. Mathura, 1959 means really olden times. And there are a few Brajvasis there sitting, and some Bengali devotees sitting there. And Keshav Maharaj has asked Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj to speak something, give some lecture. And Prabhupada gives a lecture in English. He should have spoken in Bengali or Hindi. He gave in English. And after the class, anyway, the program happened. Then 1965, Prabhupada came to America. We know that entire pastime. We are not getting into that now. 1966, ISKCON. And then a few years later, he came to Vrindavan. In 1970, when he was in Vrindavan, this is almost 11 years after his sannyas, he was doing one, and he had brought all his Western disciples, and they were doing class. And they tried to get some land to start a temple there. So that time, very interesting, For the one Brajavasi who had been there, the sannyasa ceremony, he came and he joked with Prabhupada. He said, "Oh Maharaj, now I know why you gave lecture in English that time." Because you were practicing to go to America and preach. Because Prabhupada gave English, why? Because he remembered he was connected to his spiritual master who had instructed him in the first meeting. The first instruction. See, Srila Prabhupada is a young boy, revolutionary, interested in Gandhi's movement, and he is offered, but because of respect, he is offering Dandavat to Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. Please understand this scenario. He is walking with his friend, and his friend insists that Abhay should meet this saintly person here. And Abhay is a young debater in college, smart. He says, "I've seen many such saintly people, I'm not meeting." But his friend wanted Abhay to come because Prabhupada says in one lecture that when I was a young boy, people would call me Hukum Chalega, which means whatever I said would happen. So they wanted my approval, my endorsement that this sannyasi is a very good person. But I would not be interested in sannyasis and all these Babajis because Prabhupada was very educated. He was going to Scottish Church College, very sophisticated, intelligent. And he had seen many of these Babajis. His father would serve them. And he saw many of them were bogus. They would beg, they would take drugs, or they would take all that ganja and they would drink. And they would wear saffron robes and then they would do other dirty things. So he had lost kind of faith in them. But he was cultured. He knew the culture of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So he respected Krishna, he respected sadhus. So finally, as his friend was pushing him, pulling him in the street, people were watching, oh, these two friends are having some friendly argument. And finally, Prabhupada yielded. Abhay yielded and he went. They climbed up that Ulta Danga rooftop. And there, as a culture, Abhay Charan De, he offered Dandavat Pranam to this sannyasi. And before he could even get up and gather a first impression about this sannyasi, he's not even gathered a first impression. Try to understand this. And Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur sitting straight. He's called Simha Guru, Lion Guru. He tells Abhay, "You are an educated young man," because Prabhupada's dress and everything showed. "You are an educated young man. You should spread the message of Krishna consciousness in the English language in the Western world." Abhay was shocked. I have not even understood who he is. I have not even heard him and I am getting a direct instruction. Now, Abhay did not accept it immediately because his heart was completely charmed. He was struck by the personality, but because of his background of education and debate, he challenged. He said, "Who will accept this message of Krishna consciousness when India is still a dependent country? We need azadi, we need swarajya first, we need independence first." And then they had a debate. And the way Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur established that Krishna consciousness is the emergency. It cannot wait for independence. And during that debate, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur gives one example of kadai, from Mahabharata. What is our life? Yudhishthir Maharaj is explaining to Yaksha. For that example, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur gave in that discussion that in that kadai, there you cook pakodas. So you keep taking one side, then putting it on the other side. So then he gives detailed description how we are all living entities are in the kadai of time. And we are being cooked by Mr. Time. Kala is cooking us. We are getting fried. For the entire graphic description from Mahabharata he is giving. And telling Abhay that this is the emergency. People are suffering. They need Krishna consciousness. And then Prabhupada is convinced. Abhay is convinced. And when they come down, and his friends ask him, "So, what is your opinion?" And Abhay says he is a saintly person. And then that time, Abhay has a regret because he's already married and he has one child and his wife is expecting the second child. And he feels, oh, if only I had not got married, I could have joined him immediately. So sincerely, to help, he says, I will earn money, I will establish my business in Prayag, and then I will help Bhaktivedanta Thakur and I will preach. So that's how he goes to Prayag, and there in 1930-31,
devotees, Gaudiya Math devotees come to his pharmaceutical shop. And he's shocked because last 11 years he's been thinking of them, remembering them. And he's shocked, he's surprised rather. He's surprised and then he's very happy. And that's how his connection starts again with Gaudiya Math. And that's how Abhay helps them start a temple there. So like that. So that debate or that instruction that Bhaktivedanta Thakur gave had a profound effect on Prabhupada. Please understand this. He said Krishna consciousness is an emergency, it cannot wait for anything. Srila Prabhupada was so moved by it that this became his guiding principle always. When he started Back to Godhead magazine, the government was not releasing paper. And Prabhupada writes about, because of the World War, Second World War, there was not paper available. But Prabhupada says, no, but Krishna consciousness is emergency. We need paper for this, not for the war. And that time, Mahatma Gandhi's 75th birthday was being celebrated. And George Bernard Shaw had written a very big offering for Gandhi, saying that how we wish it was your 25th birthday. Prabhupada took that statement and wrote a whole article on how you may wish anything, but time doesn't listen to us. Same lesson he learned from his spiritual master, he started writing, explaining. All his articles were like that. Any experience he would go through, he would come back, write about it. Somebody challenged him, where is God? The next day he would write an article, eyes to see God. So that time, so this is what he did. And then when he went to America, if you see, this is an amazing thing. 1966, ISKCON is started. Prabhupada is giving a lecture. And all hippies are sitting. Please understand this scenario. These young hippies are not interested in Krishna consciousness. See, Prabhupada's genius was, before Prabhupada, all saintly people would catch interested people and give them Krishna consciousness. I'll repeat. Saintly people would catch interested people and give them Krishna consciousness. But Prabhupada's genius was, Prabhupada created interest in people. He created interest for spirituality in people. And today, nowadays, it is even worse. Nowadays, we have to take care of people's interest. They are not interested, nor are we able to create interest in them. We just have to take care. Rona mat, don't cry. We have to mollycoddle people. That's unfortunate. So that's a challenge also. But Srila Prabhupada created interest in people. He took care of their interest also, of course. And while giving a class in that Matchless Gift Store, Srila Prabhupada is speaking on Bhagavad Gita. Now, please understand, he had learned this lesson in 1920-22 from his Guru Maharaj, and look how consistently he is following it. In 1966, while giving a class to the hippies, Prabhupada gives the example from Gita. He says, Arjuna did not want to fight. And Krishna told him, surrender and fight. Now this was a volatile analogy Prabhupada had chosen. Not intentionally, but Krishna directed him. This was not a politically good example to take. Why? Because America was at war that time in Vietnam. And all the young men in America were protesting against the war. And they were being drafted into the army. They were being forced to join the army. So this example nobody liked. Please understand, because they not want to fight the war. Now Prabhupada is not talking about Vietnam war. He is talking about Mahabharat war. Krishna telling Arjuna to fight. Arjuna did not want to fight, but if Krishna tells you have to fight, you have to fight. This example did not sit well because they were connecting to their war. Are you getting it? Whenever we hear Bhagavatam class also many times, sometimes we become uncomfortable with some of the things because we connect to that principle from our myopic lenses. This is a very important principle. Bhagavatam classes, when we come, keep your problems aside and enter Krishna's space, enter the space of eternity. But we come with our situations as paramount importance. This is what is happening with the hippies. So one young man challenged. He said, Swami, you are saying Krishna told to fight, so should we fight the Vietnam war? Very important question, practical question. We want practical classes. And what was Prabhupada's answer? Prabhupada said, Vietnam war will come and go. But this is Bhagavad Gita. Please understand the need of the soul and surrender to Krishna. So then this boy is saying, if you're not addressing Vietnam War, then what is the relevancy? How are you relevant? Srila Prabhupada was challenging them with such a volatile example. He was pushing them to connect to a truth, to a reality beyond the present reality. Many of us, we are all stuck in the present reality. We cannot think a life beyond our present situation. He was speaking the same thing what his Guru Maharaj spoke to him in the first meeting. Krishna consciousness is the emergency. The soul is suffering in the material world. Same thing Prabhupada said later, few years later when he was in Delhi. India-Pakistan war broke out, December. So General Yahya Khan from Pakistan, they were trying to drop bombs and there was a blackout. So there was a newspaper reporter, she was interviewing Srila Prabhupada and suddenly there was a blackout and she panicked. She said, "Oh Swamiji, there's going to be blackout, there's going to be bombs." So Prabhupada said, "Why are you afraid? Mare Krishna Rakhe ke, Rakhe Krishna Mare ke. If Krishna wants to protect you, no one can kill you. If Krishna wants to kill you, no one can protect you." She said, no, but Yahya Khan, somebody has to go and tell him to stop the war. So Srila Prabhupada said, "Why are you flattering Yahya Khan?" So she was just not able to understand what Prabhupada was trying to say. Srila Prabhupada, she said, no, we are going to die. The war, she really panicked. Prabhupada said, "If General Yahya Khan doesn't kill you, won't you die?" Srila Prabhupada was challenging her to go beyond the present reality. So Srila Prabhupada has come to give us Krishna consciousness, address the real emergency. So what Srila Prabhupada is giving us is recommended and predicted in the Padma Puran. There is a conversation between Narad Muni and Bhakti Devi. And Bhakti Devi is telling Narad Muni, this is in Vrindavan, the conversation. She tells him that, "I will be leaving this sacred place. Idam sthanam parityajya videsham gamyate maya." I will be leaving this place and going to the foreign lands. Bhakti Devi is saying this. Amarendra Prabhu was once telling me that it is, you notice, because he's a Sanskrit expert, he was saying she should have said, aham videsham gacchami. That would have been an active sense. But she is saying in the passive sense, videsham gammate maya, which means I will be carried to the Western world. That shows. So Bhakti Devi is declaring that she will be carried from Vrindavan to the Western world. Who did that? His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada did this. He carried. And Srila Prabhupada is also very humble. When he was asked, "You came to the Western countries, you came to America and gave Krishna consciousness. You are going to America?" Srila Prabhupada said, "No. Srimad Bhagavatam is going to America. Because it's in the book form, Bhagavatam is in the book form, I am accompanying the Bhagavatam." So, this is very, very important. Srila Prabhupada has been predicted, his contribution has been predicted in Chaitanya Mangal. Lochandas Thakur explains, Mahaprabhu declaring that Yadi papi chadi dharma dure desha jaye, mora senapati bhakta yayebe tataye. There are sinful people in the Western world who have given up Krishna consciousness, who have given up the nature of the soul. My senapati bhakta will go there and bring them back. Chaitanya Bhagavat also, Vrindavandas Thakur paraphrases, he explains Mahaprabhu's mood. Prithivite achayata nagaradi gram sarvatra prachara hobe moranam. Lord Chaitanya has declared. In fact, there is one lecture of Srila Prabhupada here at Chowpatty Beach, 1971. That Pandal program here, Prabhupada is saying, glories of Lord Nityananda. And he says, so Nityananda Prabhu converted by his mercy, one Jagai Madai were delivered. And then Prabhupada says, by Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, today we are delivering wholesale Jagais and Madais. Prabhupada calls all of us as wholesale Jagais and Madais. So this is Srila Prabhupada's amazing contribution. On his sannyas ceremony day, we can meditate on the sacrifices he made, on the pain and suffering he undertook. See, it's not easy. There's one way of saying Srila Prabhupada is okay, he's a pure devotee, because Prabhupada has written in a letter to Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj that there was never a time when I did not, there is never a time in my life when I forgot Krishna. Very honest. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj had honestly asked him, are you a pure devotee from birth? Those kind of very uncomfortable questions, we would think like that. But he asked, because he asked his spiritual master, and Prabhupada very honestly writes, there was never a time in my life when I forgot Krishna. I always remembered Krishna. See, as a 6-7-year-old boy or a girl, at that age, did any one of you ever plan to organize a Rath Yatra of Jagannath? Prabhupada at that age is organizing Rath Yatra. All the planning also, okay, you will make kachoris, Prabhupada was fond of kachoris. He was known as Kachori Nandu. Because whenever you get kachoris, you would stuff them in his pocket. So as a young boy, he organized Jagannath Rath Yatra in his locality, in his neighborhood. And, all full management of the Rath Yatra. Who will make what cooking, who will get the arati, who will do what. Everything systematically planned. In fact, his parents did not stop him doing anything. Only one thing when Prabhupada was planning to do, when little Abhay was planning, that's when they stopped him. Because for the festival, Abhay was planning to have firecrackers. So he was reading book to make firecrackers. That's when they stopped him. Bola, ye mat karo. This is very dangerous. So, I don't know, I lost a little track where something important. Yeah, so Srila Prabhupada was giving Krishna consciousness. He is actually, this is a point about how he never forgot Krishna. He was always absorbed in Krishna. Now, for this personality, now one way of saying, okay, Prabhupada went through all this suffering, business losses, he's a pure devotee, he's not affected. No, that's one way of seeing. Another way of seeing is the human side of Srila Prabhupada. We're not discounting his being a pure devotee, but to teach us how not to give up Krishna, even in such adverse circumstances. In the first canto purport, Srila Prabhupada very beautifully explains that what Pandavas went through, we will not go through. And then Prabhupada says, Krishna makes pure devotees go through such things because Krishna, by seeing their example, we will get strength to practice bhakti. So Prabhupada gives the example of a girl who gets married and goes to her in-law's place where the mother-in-law is concerned, okay, my daughter-in-law is very young, she's new, she may get bewildered if I correct her. So the mother-in-law scolds her own daughter loudly. Why did you put this extra salt or something like that? She will chastise her own daughter. And that is within the earshot of the daughter-in-law. For the daughter-in-law hears this and she's, I should not have done that. For the chastisement was for the daughter, but daughter-in-law gets the message and she learns. Prabhupada gives this example. Similarly, and then Prabhupada says, similarly, Krishna knows if he gives us those kind of troubles, 7 times business loss, nobody in the family is supporting. Prabhupada had 8 children. Of course, 3 of them passed away during birth. So 5 children, 8 children he had, out of which only 1 child supported what Prabhupada was doing. If you read his oldest daughter, Sulakshana, how she rejected her own father, it's very painful. If you read our Prabhu's book, what is his name? Our Joshua, I forget his initiated name, sorry. But in his book, he explains in great detail about all the children, how each one. And the second one, he went actually mad. He fell in love with a girl, wanted to marry her, her parents refused, something like that happened. And then Srila Prabhupada got him treated in the best hospital in Kolkata. It was a mental hospital. There was a special ward only reserved for the Britishers. There, Prabhupada got him admitted, spent a lot of money on curing him with the best treatment. And that treatment seemed to work for some time. And after some time, it did not work. And that boy went his wayward ways. And then he was, many years later, devotees saw him, you see mad people walking in the street, collecting things from the garbage, eating, homeless people. So like that, devotees saw him, and then when Prabhupada came to know, he was crying. His own son had become like that. So it's very painful what Srila Prabhupada went through. So one way of seeing is, okay, pure devotee, nothing happened, that's one way. But if you see the human side, your son, your family, there is a nice bhajan Srila Prabhupada wrote in 1959 called Vrindavan Bhajan. It's there in the Lilamrit, please read that. He writes about how much love he got as a child from his family. And then he says, where are they now? Where is my loving father? Where is my loving mother? Where are all those people who gave me love? Then Prabhupada says, they are only simply names now. Nothing is there. And then Prabhupada says, no, but we are all connected by Krishna. See, spiritual life means, Prabhupada taught us very clearly, spiritual life doesn't mean everything will remain same. Sometimes devotees say, Prabhuji, Radha Gopinath Mandir is now not like how it was earlier. People say, Prabhuji, earlier we used to get so much association of Maharaj, now we don't get. Or earlier it was like this, like that. We compare sometimes. So spiritual life doesn't mean that everything will remain same like past. What it means, spiritual life means is what is real. When everything changes, what is real will remain as it is. What is eternal will remain. That is why what was happening 25 years ago is happening now also. Radha Gopinath is being served. Everything else is changing. Right? Prabhupada taught us this. Srila Prabhupada's main teaching was hold on to Krishna. See, when I joined the ashram, we were young brahmacharis standing right in the front and jumping and dancing in the Mangalarati. And I used to see some older devotees sitting behind. And I would think, baithe hain, theek hai, hum log aage khood rahe. And now I see the BT devotees jumping and dancing sometimes. And I'm for Mangalarati. I'm like, okay, back is paining. I'm sitting behind, trying to nurse the wounds inflicted by time. So times have changed, people have changed. I remember I see these two children in the morning, always, Gaur Priya and Sridama, running around. And when I joined and a few years later, I used to, same way I used to see these two. Now they are grown up, Janvi and Gautam. Now it is Gaur Priya and Sridama. When I joined the ashram, I remember Sanatan Muni Prabhu would be wobbling from the temple, from that door. The way he would wobble and walk right in the front and take darshan of Radha Gopinath. And when he passed away, when he left the world, Radhanath Swami Maharaj told us, Radha Gopinath ji was waiting for him every day to give Mangalarti darshan. And then Maharaj said, he is struggling to come from Dadar every day morning, wobbling here, walking, struggling to walk and come and take darshan. Maharaj said, that will give Radha Gopinath ji million times more happiness than you rattling of so many shlokas in your class. Means the devotion, the love he had. So now Sanatan Muni Prabhu is not there. But now you will see the same thing Param Purush Prabhu is doing. He is also 90. Sanatan Muni Prabhu at that time was 92. Now our Param Purush Prabhu is 92 years old. He is wobbling. So everything has changed. People have changed, but something has not changed. Right? So that time our Abhiram Gopal Thakur Prabhu would be sitting here in the Japa time, Vanaprastha. Now I used to see our Vraja Krishna Prabhu. He would sit here and chant. He's also kind of Vanaprastha. So everything is changing. But Radha Gopinath, 6-time offerings going on. Radha Gopinath ji is playing flute. I was lucky, by Krishna's mercy, Prabhupada's mercy, I got a chance to go to Tompkins Square Park in New York, the same place where Prabhupada broke the American silence. He inaugurated the Hare Krishna chanting. So that place where Prabhupada started. So when I went there, I was amazed because I saw everything is same. Like it was what is described in the Lilamrit. I saw one old lady sitting in a bench, staring at the sky. Lilamrit describes that. During Prabhupada's kirtan that was happening. What is described in Lilamrit was happening in 1966, Tompkins Square Park, October. Same thing I saw in 2025. One old lady is looking at the sky. Some children are going in their bikes, shrieking, screaming. One couple is passionately kissing in another bench. And there's one homeless man lying on the street, completely drugged. Everything and dirty. That park is so dirty. But something is not changed. Everything is changing, something is not changing. What is that? That eternity, that Brahman, that essence is what Srila Prabhupada came to give us. Our relationship with Krishna, our connection with Krishna. At the same time, to give that, Prabhupada went through struggle, Prabhupada went through suffering to teach us that this material world is not a place for us. It's not our permanent place. And Srila Prabhupada cried when his son went mad. During his last days, he's a sannyasi. As a sannyasi, he followed the sannyas vows. He never met his wife after sannyas. But during his last days, you read the book Servant of Servant, you will find many references where Srila Prabhupada is telling Tamal Krishna Maharaj and his intimate disciples, keep some pension for my wife and children. From the ISKCON, see, Prabhupada had established ISKCON, there were properties, there was money. So Srila Prabhupada took care of his family. There's another story that his family filed a case on ISKCON. That's another story for another day. But look at Prabhupada's compassion, Prabhupada's soft-heartedness, his commitment, his sense of responsibility, his love. So Srila Prabhupada showed us the human side, not that, in the name of being a devotee, we become insensitive to our relationships in this world. At the same time, it's not that, these relationships in this world are so important, so let me just make this world a happy place. No, that's not going to happen. We have to do our duty, but get connected to the eternal reality. Srila Prabhupada came to give us that. We can't forget our purpose because of the razzle-dazzle and the glamour of this world, which keeps us so engrossed, so bewildered. Srila Prabhupada came to tell us that human form of life is very rare. He came to agitate us and then also give us love. See, scriptures, now, speciality about Srila Prabhupada's books are two things. I want to say this is a very important point. This is what I feel. I could be wrong, and I'm hoping to be corrected also if I'm wrong. See, there are two things. Sometimes we think, okay, Prabhupada has told us what to do, so we just follow blindly, ritualistically. No. Prabhupada provoked us to think. And then second, he also told us what to think. See, there are two different things here. If you read Bible, Quran, they tell you what to think. But Vedic scriptures tell you to think first. Are you getting it? Like if you read Chandogya Upanishad, for example, there is a story of Shvetaketu, who is asking his father is wanting to educate him and tells him about how, because his son comes back from Gurukul, becomes very proud that I know everything. So his father says, do you know that by which that which is unknown can be known, that which is unseen can be seen? For the son says, I don't know. Then the father, this is the 6th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad, and the father starts educating him on how everything is changing, but something is not changing, that is Brahman. That education is so intense, the examples, analogies from nature that his father gives, the son is completely shaken. There is something that doesn't change. There is something eternal. What is that? I want that. I want to connect to something beyond this world. That is called thinking. So that search will make us seek a higher reality. And then when we come to our Krishna consciousness will appear very attractive, very seamless. And then Prabhupada will tell us what to think. Meditate on Gopinath's lotus feet. Sa chintayet bhagavatis charanaravindam. The lotus feet. Vajrang kushadvaja saroru alanchanadhyam. Okay, meditate on Krishna's lotus feet, the symbols of elephant goad. Okay, chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds. What to do, what to think is also given. But the first step is also given. Start thinking, start asking questions. We don't ask questions. Prabhupada's books give us answers, but we have got answers for questions that we have not asked. We have to ask questions. What is the goal of life? Why am I suffering? Sanatana Goswami asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ke ami, kene amar, jara tapatray. Who am I? Why am I suffering? What is the goal of life? If you don't ask these questions, the answers that Prabhupada's books are giving us will not make any sense. They will not ring any bell. We'll keep fighting on petty issues. Oh, that Prabhuji spoke like that Mataji looked at me like that, he did. Small issues we will fight. Charane ka problem leke we will fight. Because we are not seeking, we are not come to Krishna looking for something beyond our eating, sleeping, mating and defending. So that is the first step. Asking questions. When we ask questions, then the answers of the Bhagavad Gita and Prabhupada's books will make complete sense. There is one lecture I was hearing recently. This is September 18, 1975, Vrindavan. Now there are series of lectures Prabhupada gives on 6th canto there. For the previous lecture he is saying, just come to Krishna. Even if you fall down, it's okay. Just come to Krishna. He keeps saying so. And he quotes 1.5, 17, 18, 19. And the 6th chapter Gita, 40, 41, 42, where, even if you do little bhakti, you will be saved. Just come to Krishna. Even if you fall, it's okay. So very hope-giving, very hope-giving. So when I was hearing that class, I was feeling, oh, Bhakti Yoga is insurance policy. Just chant once. But the next class, which is the one I'm talking about now, which I heard just 2 days back, September 18 wala, completely different. Prabhupada is presenting Krishna consciousness as a process of inquiry, not insurance policy. And he gives a complete different twist to that famous verse which we often quote. That famous verse from the Gita, where Brahma Bhuta Prasannatmana Sochanti Nakangshati Samaha Sarvesh Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. This is 18.54, where Krishna is saying that one who is Brahma Bhuta, he will never have hankering, he will never lament, and he will accept bhakti very nicely. I remember I used to hear this verse earlier, and I used to quote this verse also, and my mood was, this verse says that if you are a devotee, that means you have already been Brahma Bhuta. That means you are already impersonal realization, everything has happened. And now you are Brahma Bhuta. That is why you are Bhakti. You have come to Bhakti. I used to think this verse is a certificate for what I am doing. No, that verse is a shake-up. It's a wake-up call. Because then that class, Prabhupada says there are two kinds of living entities. Jiva Bhuta and Brahma Bhuta. And then English lecture, he starts speaking in Hindi. Jiva Bhuta, Brahma Bhuta, both living entities keep asking questions. And then he says, Jiva Bhuta is always asking question. Dal ka bhav kya hai? Chawal ka bhav kya hai? And I was reading that transcription of that lecture in the Veda-based folio because the American devotees have transcribed. They are not able to they don't know what Prabhupada is saying because it is Hindi, right? So they are just put cross, and they're saying Hindi. But those who know Hindi, they are like, oh, Prabhupada is saying, Chawal ka bhav kya hai? Dal ka bhav kya hai? This is Jiva Bhuta. And then Prabhupada says, Brahma Bhuta is one who is asking, what is the goal of life? Why am I suffering? Then Prabhupada says, become Brahma Bhuta. And then you become Brahma Bhuta. That question and answers, that question seeking will make us Brahma Bhuta, Prasannatma, Na Sochati, Na Kangshati. You will not have hankering and lamentation. You will be peaceful. Then Bhakti Yoga will make sense. Then Bhakti will appear joyful. So there are two advantages of asking questions, spiritual questions. We think, oh, I am devotee, that means I am Brahma Bhuta. No, the fact that I am hankering and lamenting on petty issues means I am still Jiva Bhuta, wearing the disguise of a Brahma Bhuta. So this is a very, very important class. So if we ask spiritual questions, then two advantages. One is our hankering and lamentation will go away because we will not be interested in the petty problems. We will be asking deeper questions. So that itself will make us happier, rise above our petty problems. The second advantage is the answers that we get from Prabhupada's books, that will capture our soul. That will just give us complete clarity and complete bliss. So like this, Srila Prabhupada gave us amazing gift of Krishna consciousness. And today is sannyasa ceremony, so we should glorify Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada's classes, there is one very, very nice class, series of classes Prabhupada gave in Vrindavan during Kartik 1971. This is Nectar of Devotion lectures. So in that very first lecture, if you see, Prabhupada is explaining, there's all Brijvasis sitting. In the background, you can hear birds, peacock. It's Vrindavan, Radha Damodar Temple, 1971, 52 years, 55 years ago. So Prabhupada is saying what to do. I had a mission to accomplish. He's talking about young boys and girls that is getting married. And he's talking about all the challenges in America, how he's getting things done. And he said, see, he's a sannyas. He's talking about Rishi Kumar, who he gave sannyas. He's just 20. He says, he's 20-year-old. I gave him sannyas. And he's preaching. So like that, he's glorifying his disciples. And then he's also knowing that he's taken a risk. Young boys and girls, he's sending them on a missionary activity, saying what to do. I had this mission to do. There's a sense of urgency that he had. So we will not imitate Srila Prabhupada. We cannot do what he did. But that spirit, that inquiry spirit has to be internalized. Then Krishna consciousness will appear a blissful process. So there is so much more we could discuss. But I would like to conclude with one verse from Brahmaji in the 3rd canto, the same canto actually. This is 9th chapter, 15th chapter. He tells the Devtas. Yebe titam apichano nragatim prapanna Jnanam cha tattva vishayam sadharmam yatra. Naradanam bhagavato vitarantamushya. Sammohita vitataya bata mayayate. This is what Prabhupada is echoing this mood. Brahmaji is saying, you have got human form of life. Ye byartitam apichano. With human form of life, you are not inquiring. Jnanam cha tattva vishayam sahadharmam yat. You are not inquiring about the goal of life. Naradanam bhagavato vitarantamushya. You are not coming to Krishna, not worshipping Krishna. Sammohita. You are bewildered and you are in Maya. Vitataya batamaya yate. He is lamenting, oh, this is Maya. This is illusion. So Srila Prabhupada carried this spirit of Bhagavatam, this spirit of Parampara. And is telling all of us with an urgent appeal, take to Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We can take some questions. I have been told to end a little early. So we'll take some questions or comments and then we have some announcements by Mukund Mala Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Vraja Bihari Prabhu. So, Prabhu, this Jiva Bhuta and
Brahma Bhuta. Brahma Bhuta, yeah.
So, I was actually, when you were describing that, I was contemplating on my own consciousness. As a Grahastha, typically, the expenses are there. And I want to be Brahma Bhuta, obviously, but sometimes, you have to check whether all the things are on track, and you're facilitating the needs of the family. So how do you have the right balance? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And is it wrong?
See, there are duties we all have in our ashrams. So as a Grahastha, that's a duty, that's a responsibility, that's a challenge. So we do the needful and we do it with humility. But Bhagavatam classes are meant for, I'll tell you where we are coming from. The Bhagavatam classes are meant for shaking us and making us realize that whatever I'm doing is temporary. See, detachment doesn't mean giving up family. Detachment means keep hearing about all this. Detachment means keep hearing that this is temporary. And then because everything will be taken away, right? Sorry to say, but not everything. So when that happens, eventually that will happen. But when that happens, the pain will be much less. Because you've been coming to Bhagavatam classes and you're constantly hearing this is temporary, become a Brahma Bhuta, don't be a Jiva Bhuta. So, but when the classes we hear, that the classes are not meant to be heard and okay, I heard today's class, so I'm going to give up everything and I'm going to only ask philosophical questions. No, that's not the purpose of a Bhagavatam class. Bhagavatam class you hear, become humble and continue doing what you are doing by remembering Krishna. Adding Krishna, and then Krishna will take charge one day of your life. See, we say, make Krishna the center of your life. I'll tell devotees, no, don't make Krishna the center of your life. You give Krishna some place in your circle. Maybe some corner, not corner, circle mein corner nahi hota, but some place in the circle you give Krishna, some place. And give attention to that Krishna in that place every day. And then you see how Krishna will come in the center. So the Bhagavatam class is not meant to, make you depressed. Bhagavatam class, Sukdev Goswami begins the Bhagavatam class with Shwavid Vara Ushtra Khare Samsuta Purusha Pashu. You are a dog, you are an ass, you are a camel, you are a pig. So when you hear that, you are like completely shaken. Arey, kya bol rahe? Gali de rahe? But the whole mood is, this is how a Grahastha hears a spiritual class. So when a sannyasi speaks, a Grahastha, हम तो नालायक है, हम तो फूल है. So that keeps the Grahastha humble. And he respects the sannyasi. And the sannyasi, if he thinks, see, he's respecting me, I deserve this because I am Maharaj, I've given up everything, so I deserve, then he will fall down. If a Grahastha thinks that this sannyas is dependent on me, I'm the one who's earning a lot of money, then he will fall down. So basically, Vedic scriptures are meant to keep both Renosh order and Grihasthas humble. So Grihasthas become humble by hearing Bhagavatam class in this mood that I'm fallen, I'm an attached Grihastha. So these classes are not meant to shake you from your position, it's meant to shake your consciousness. It's meant to invoke the spirit of detachment. Renunciation is not sudden, it's organic. See, in a missionary movement, sometimes we give a pep talk and we inspire and all that happens. But reality, how renunciation comes, it's seamless. Like how do seasons change? How does sunrise happen? Okay, morning. From darkness, do we suddenly get blazing noon? There is twilight. How sunset happens? Darkness comes later. So, but when we want light, what do? If it's completely pitch dark, if you come to the temple hall in the night at 3 o'clock, sometimes 4 o'clock I come in the morning, it's pitch dark. If you want light, what do? 4:20, the chandeliers, light on. In this world, when we want light, we switch on and light comes. But in nature, light doesn't come like this. Light comes slowly. Similarly, renunciation. See, nature has rhythm. There is harmony, there is beauty, there is grace. So we have to follow that. And one part of the process is that twilight zone is where we are all in confusion, suffering, anxiety, decision-making, balancing. This is all part of that twilight zone where the light of Krishna consciousness is not yet fully shining in our consciousness. So at that time we keep hearing these Bhagavatam classes. Haan yaar, sach hai, maar kha rahe hain, suffering hai. And become humble. So then that slowly increases the spirit of renunciation and detachment. And then I'm telling you, you don't have to be an institutional person. I was reading On the Way to Krishna, Prabhupada's small book. In the second chapter, Prabhupada says, Krishna consciousness is not, he actually writes this sentence, Krishna consciousness is not a prerogative of an institution. See, I have one friend, his father is not an ISKCON devotee. This is a true story. Till the age of 70, he was managing his business. Age of 70, he completely gave up business. From childhood, he's going to Vrindavan occasionally. Going, Radhe Radhe, simple person. But understand, hears, respect sadhus, hears from them. Material world is nonsense, detachment hona chahiye. But he was not detached. He was with his children, he was doing his bhajan business, everything. Age of 70, he stopped. He would drive to Vrindavan every weekend, come back. But after 80, he couldn't. So his sons would take him every month. Rather, and he would write everyday diary also. In diary, he would write things like, today my stomach was not cleared. Whatever, you would write simple things. Sometimes he would say, today my friend came, my childhood friend. All that you would write. And at the age of 92, finally he passed away. After a whole life of, simple bhakti. Respecting sadhus, chanting, reading scriptures. And he had his scriptures, books, Radhashtakam. All those things he would chant, he would come to temple. Look at the way sunrise, sunset happens in our spiritual life. How he is so dear to Krishna. So he passed away in June 15th or something, he passed away. At the age of 92, when I visited his family, you know what his son showed me? Son showed me his diary, which he used to write every day. And I was shocked when I read, April ka kuch entry hai, April mein. He's writing about how he's taking all these laxatives, but his stomach is not getting cleared and all that. And next day he's writing about his childhood friend who came. And third day he's writing, Aaj Thakur ji ne bola hai, June 12 ko mujhe le jayenge. June 14, whatever the date. He writes this. Thakur ji has told me that he will take me on June 14. And that's the day he left this world. So he's not a big sannyasi, preacher, but you see how seamlessly there is some connection with Krishna. There is some transcendental system which is taking care of all of us. 6.42 purport, Prabhupada says, he got Krishna consciousness when he was a child. His Guru Maharaj also got Krishna consciousness when he was a child. Then he says, we met by the transcendental system. So we are all connected by a transcendental system. And Krishna is taking care of us. So when you're hearing this now, Prabhu, continue to do all that balancing. Depressed nahi hone ka, dukhi nahi hone ka. This is not to make us feel, I'm attached. No, this is to make us feel inspired to understand the real goal of life. Have I addressed your... Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Should we stop here? Mukunmala Prabhu, you have an announcement to make? Okay. Then we can take one more question if the announcement is not there. Yes, we'll take one question here. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, in your lecture you mentioned that, we need to leave the present condition we are here right now in this material world, and we should focus on the Bhagavatam lecture and take the darshan of Sri Radha Gopinath ji. So, in this material world we are struggling with the job and all these things. So, could you please shed some light on practical tips on how to, to forget about our present job condition or family condition and just focus on the Bhagavatam and the deities and in spiritual life? Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So 23 hours, 22 hours you do that. For some time in a day, see, there is Krishna space, there is I space. I space is where my problems, my life, this world is what is engulfing me. And there is Krishna space where regardless of what is happening to me, Krishna continues to play his flute. Krishna is doing his Rasa Leela. Krishna loves to have relationships and dealings with his devotees. So sometime every day you give to be in Krishna space. Sometime. And in that space, be present, be mindful, come back to the present moment, listen to the holy name, listen to the class, receive Krishna. The more we do this, the more that circle will expand. And then you will be able to navigate through better in your I space when you are dealing with your material situations. And main key here is to be mindful, to be present. And also keep asking why. Why am I practicing bhakti? Why am I here? What is this material world? Asking spiritual questions, as I quoted that verse, Brahma Bhuta, Prabhupada's class. Two things happen when we ask deeper questions. Our petty problems don't affect us so much. We may deal with them, but they don't affect us so much. And also the answers we get from Prabhupada's books, they nourish us. Every statement will be like, it will be hitting us hard. So this would be my answer that, yes, it can be overwhelming. Life in this world, not just for grahasthas, even brahmacharis, sannyasis, life is overwhelming. It's crazy. So we need to spend some time where, regardless of what's happening in my life, there is Krishna. See, when you love someone, what do? Do you only talk to that person about your problems? Do you say, I love this person so much, and for 1 hour I was only speaking, this person was hearing? Then that relationship is not complete. In relationship, you also hear, right? From the person you claim to love, you also need to hear. Similarly, the whole day, you are telling Krishna your problem. This is. But those 2 hours, 3 hours of bhakti that you do, that is a time when you are present. Present means you are listening to Krishna. See, in this world, how do you have a communication? You speak and you listen. That's how we communicate. In our spiritual world, how do we communicate? Talking is compared to offering thoughts. Krishna, please help me. Krishna, I'm struggling. This is offering a thought. This is offering thought. This is equal to speaking. Just like in this world, you listen. In the spiritual dimension, we listen by being present. So when you're present in the temple hall right now, you're not analyzing too much, just being present. Then you are listening. Being present is equal to listening. Offering thoughts is equal to talking. Just like in this world, to have a good relationship, you talk and you listen. In our relationship with Krishna, we offer thoughts. Krishna, please help me. But meaningful, articulate thoughts. If you can't express thoughts, write it down. Read it in front of Krishna. Krishna. So when we offer thoughts, we are speaking to Krishna. Then keep the thoughts aside. Then just be present. We hear classes also from our prism. Oh, this is not practical. Oh, this answers my questions. This is practical. No. Sometimes it is very impractical, but just listen to the class. Even if it doesn't make sense, just listen. Because it's coming in parampara, it's a bona fide devotee speaking. Allow that sound vibration to purify. Everything will make sense. Prabhupada says sometimes his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Thakur's classes, he would not understand. But he says, but I still heard because I had faith in the process of Shravanam. He was present. He was taking it in. When we are taking Charanamrit, when we are smelling the perfume that is offered to the Lord, present, take it with your senses. When you are in a conversation, be present. That's equal to listening to your lover. And when you're offering thoughts, that's like communicating, speaking. So when we do this, then Krishna was with you now, then Krishna will be with you when you are dealing with the world. See, when we are chanting 2 hours, we are not with Krishna. Right? Many of us, anybody feels that when they are chanting, they are not with Krishna emotionally? Yes? Now, how will you be with Krishna then rest of the day? If Krishna is sitting with you and you are not able to connect with Krishna, how will you connect with Krishna when you are handling money and material energy? So let us make our time with Krishna very effective by offering thoughts and by being present. When we are offering thoughts, we are speaking with Krishna, and when we are being present, we are listening to Krishna. Because when we are just present, suddenly some inspiration will come. Suddenly some comfort will come. A sense of shelter will come. A sense of, it's ineffable. It cannot be described in words. Because if it can be described in words, then it will be on the level of mind and intelligence. By definition, soul. Krishna speaks in Paravak. Speech is in Vaikari Madhyama Pashyanti. And Para is the soul's voice. If the soul's voice we can explain in material words, English, Hindi, with logic, then that is not a spiritual voice. Spiritual, you will know Krishna is speaking to you. So does that answer your question? 2 things you need to do. Offer thoughts and I'm asking. Be present, be mindful. Okay? So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Okay.